10:30. Welcome. My name is Priscilla, and I'm your Zoom host today, here to assist our great presenters. So welcome to Breakout Session 1G. We have great presenters today, Leticia Diaz, Consuelo Orihuela, and Yolanda Granados. We're really excited to hear about support services. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through some general housekeeping items. So before we get started, just a few things to keep in mind. Please make sure that you're muted at all times. If you do have a question, please use the WOVA app Q&A window to the right of this screen. I will be monitoring the chat, and we will get to questions throughout and at the end of the session. You can also scroll down to see presentation materials. And this session is currently being recorded, so it will be available to you after the conference, which is really exciting. And then also make sure to rate the session, complete a brief survey about your experience in general at the conference. So with that out of the way, go ahead and take it away, and we're really excited to learn more.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. Good morning, everyone. My name is Leticia Diaz, and I serve as the Director of EOPS and Special Programs at San Diego Mesa College. We're so excited to be here today, and I have two of my colleagues with us as well, and I'll have them introduce themselves. So I'm going to pass it over to Consuelo.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Consuelo Orihuela, and I serve as a project assistant for Borderless Scholars Program and the soon-to-be Dreamer Research Center. I'll pass it over to Yolanda.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Granados. I am a project assistant for San Diego Mesa Borderless Scholars and also for the new Dreamer Resource Center.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk about the support services available for undocumented, Dreamer, AB 540, Daca, and students from mixed status families available at San Diego Mesa College. If you have any questions at any time, you can share them in the chat, and then Priscilla will relay them to us. We're going to talk about what Borderless Scholars is, what the Dreamer Resource Center is, the services available for our students, colleagues, and community, events and workshops that we offer, and some special announcements. You will also get to hear from some of our students later on in the presentation as well. So what is Borderless Scholars? So in 2016, a group of students came together through the Rice Club and through the support of different colleagues on campus to create a concentrated space of having Dreamer support services. And the students named the program Borderless Scholars. At that time, there was no funding allocated specifically to support our Dreamer students at Mesa College. However, there was equity funds that were requested and that were limited to supporting the student population, such as purchasing meal cards or bookstore cards and providing it to students, but again, it was very limited. The program was housed under EOPS, and there was a counselor who had a split assignment and provided 50% of their time to supporting our document students on campus through the Borderless Scholars program. Our district, the San Diego Community College District, applied to the Catalyst grant that was offered through Immigrants Rising, and we were awarded the grant from 2018 to most recently this past year. So it was a 3-year one-time grant to establish Dreamer support services at our community college and a dedicated space specifically for our students. And that really helped strengthen and continue developing the support services available for Dreamer students at Mesa College. And because it was specific, we were able to bring on more team members through either hourly positions or students through hourly positions as well, but they were peer mentors for the program. So our program began to flourish in the sense of really establishing a foundation for all of these efforts that have been initiated throughout the decades through different colleagues on campus or different clubs on campus, and really bring them together. So we created this space, which is called the Borderless Scholars Program, housed under EOPS, and it supports undocumented AB 540, Dreamer, Daca, and students from mixed status family. We also provide support to our faculty, staff, administrators, allies on campus, and our community at large as well. And we provide a safe space for students and our colleagues to learn about the different services available for this specific student population, whether students are prospective students, current students, or alumni of our college. We provide that space for students to access different types of services, and we're going to talk about them in a bit. But before I do, I also want to share who our team consists of. And Yolanda Granados is with us today. She's our one of our project assistants. Rosa Palacios is one of our adjunct counselors. Consuelo Orihuela is one of our project assistants. Clemente is one of our counselors. And we currently have a vacant financial aid liaison position. And this position is currently in the process of hiring, and it gets funded through a different funding source, so not through our department. And I currently serve as the director, but later on I'll share more information of a couple of new positions that are coming in to serve this specific student population. I wanted to share about our services. So one of our main services for our students is academic, personal, and career counseling. For us, it's very important that students understand that we're here regardless if they're enrolled or not. Many of our students come to us because they heard about us or they were referred to our program, and they want to learn more, but they don't know what to ask or what information is available to them. So for us, it's very important that they know that we're here to support them every step of their journey at Mesa College, and that includes even before they're enrolled at Mesa College. So we want to make sure that they apply to Mesa College, access the different types of funding sources available, and that they are ready and prepared before the term begins. We currently serve approximately 450 students in our Borderless Scholars program, and it has gradually grown over the years, again, because we were able to bring on more people power to concentrate different efforts within the Borderless Scholars program and ensure that we're record keeping, tracking information, following up with students, accessing different funding sources. And so currently, as of this last fiscal year, 2020-2021, we were awarded AB 1645. So all community colleges received the AB 1645 Dreamer Resource Liaison funding. And with that funding, our college determines the need of our program and our students. And we have decided that that these different services such as bus pass, book service, meal cards, and school supplies were among the services that our students needed. So the way that we collect information from our students is using Google form. So we send an email to students and we ask them to opt into the services. Since we have limited amount of funding, we don't award the same amount to all students. So students can select the types of services that they need. And then our team follows up with the student, letting them know what the process is to access these services. We also send out follow-up reminders to students to ensure that they use it by the deadline that we have, that we've shared with them. But we typically give them about 1 to 2 months, depending on the time of the semester that they came in, to access these different services. We also serve as a legal services hub through the Jewish Family Services HALES. And we, on average, see anywhere from about 6 to 10 students or refer 6 to 10 students every month to JFS HALES. And that is relatively high among our district for the number of students that are accessing this service. And this service is available for employees as well. We don't have the data of the number of student and employees that access it because it is confidential. So we're only provided the number of individuals that access this service, but we make sure that on a weekly basis, we are sending email reminders to students, letting them know that the service is available to them. And it is a free service. And it is it's supported by state funding that is being funneled through these different legal services providers across the state of California. We also provide support to students in applying for the California DREAM Act application. And this is year-round. So whatever time the student comes into our program, we want to make sure that they are applying to the different types of financial support that is available to them. We also provide one-on-one support for students to complete their AB 540 affidavit form. And we have direct contact at the admissions office that we worked with directly. So if we do need any clarification or we need to follow up on their form, we are always, we have an open line of communication. So we make sure that we're supporting the student as quick as possible so that they can enroll and take classes at the college as soon as possible. And we have a lot of campus resources that you'll hear about later on in the presentation. And I'm going to hand it over to Consuelo.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yes, for the workshops and events that we offer to our students, I wanted to mention that as well for these ones, we tailor depending on the students' needs based on what they respond to us. In the previous workshop or previous event, we give them a Google form to respond to what they will be interested in learning more or what their needs are. And based upon that, we tailor the events that we offer to them so we know how to serve them better. We have had a few events this fall, and among those, the one that I would like to highlight in the past that happened this fall was the advanced parole, because Yolanda, it's our star student, graduate student and project assistant. She had the pleasure to be able to travel on advanced parole and presented this opportunity to a few of our students. And our students were, a lot of them very surprised about learning how they can actually travel to abroad with advanced parole. And probably you can elaborate more on that, Julie, in a little bit. We had a summer program with 18 students completing the program. They needed to go to at least 3 workshops, 3 of the 5 workshops that we offer for them in order to complete this summer program and be granted have a small amount on a grant that we were able to provide for them. We gave them information regarding their financial aid, their residence, how what applies to what they wanted to learn with their career. We also offer the DREAM Act application workshops. As you know, the DREAM Act opens on October 1st and runs to March 2nd. And this is the window of time that we have every year for our students to apply and receive their California DREAM Act, their financial aid through the state of California. And this is a service we always want for them to be able to access and get help in order to go to school. So we open that and we are continuously offering it throughout this time until March 2nd. Also, we're gonna have our grant opening on next week. We're super excited about that. And Leticia will elaborate more about it. Can we go to the next one? Yes. Again, the financial aid window to apply for financial aid is open for our students for their California DREAM Act application. We have it open until March 2nd. We are continuously offering this workshop. We had on October, from the week of 18th to the 22nd, we had our Undocumented Student Action Week. For this one, we worked in collaboration with the California Community College Chancellor's Office, City College, Mesa College, Miramar College, and the College of Continuing Education. Also with Immigrants Rising, JFS, and Higher Education Legal Services, and Alliance of San Diego to offer workshops and information to our student community with information that is relevant to their needs. And we had great attendance. Students were engaged and happy to be part of this. We also are continuously offering the workshops for transferring. I know the window was supposed to close yesterday, but they extended it. We have a lot of students continuously coming and asking of questions for that. And we try to help them as much as possible having these workshops so we can help more of them. Also for the legal services and immigration services, like Leticia mentioned earlier, we are continuously sending information for them and offering the legal services that are available for them, that they're free. This time around, this fall, we had available funding to pay for their Daca fee of $495. And this was a great opportunity that doesn't present all the time. So we were offering it more than usual. We were trying to get this information to our students so they can take advantage of this small little help. And for Rise Club, it's a club like that started everything for our program, for Borderless Scholars program. And Rise Club is led by a counselor, Rosa Palacios, and co-advised by Amber Alatorre. And these two counselors have their club up and running, Rise up and running. And Rise Club is a student-led club run by students and for the students. We help them advocate for undocumented community, AB 540, Dreamer, Daca recipients, students from mixed status families, as well as staff, faculty, and the community at large. We through the club, we help them raise awareness and feel empowered that they can reach to different entities within the community to get their voice heard. And the club meets usually every Friday mornings between 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now that we're merging into going into in-person, I believe last meeting happened in person and the students were very happy about that. And we're gonna continue to grow with the club, hopefully, now that we're gonna have a center.
Thank you, Consuelo. So now on to some announcements. Our team and our students, our campus has been advocating for many, many decades and having support services for our Dreamer students at Mesa College. And thankfully, through different efforts, we've been able to come together and continue advocating to establishing the sustainable services for our students. And not only was the program a pivotal moment for the concentrating these efforts, but also having full-time team members. And I'm excited to share with you all that we are currently in the screening process to bring on board a new contract faculty tenure counselor coordinator. And we previously had this position filled, but it was vacant for many years. And due to COVID or due to hiring freezes at our district, it was vacant for close to 3 years. And we're filling in this position. And by January, we should have the counselor coordinator on board full-time. So look forward to we look forward to welcoming them, and then also look forward to receiving information if you do collaborate with any of the Dreamer support services within our region. We also recently got approval for a senior student services assistant that's going to be supporting our Borderless Scholars program as well, which is the classified full-time contract position. Again, this is really great news for us, and it comes at a time where Consuelo shared the great news that we're going to have our grand opening of the Dreamer Resource Center. So this is a dedicated space for our students and our programs that support undocumented AB 540 Dreamer, mixed status family, Daca recipients. So it's our grand opening is going to be next Tuesday, December 7th. All of you are welcome to join us. You can either join us in person and stop by anytime between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. at San Diego Mesa College Building I-4204, which is located in the Student Services Building. If you can see my background on Zoom, this is the Student Services Building. It'll be located on the second floor, so it is at the heart of the campus as far as different type of support services offered to students. We will also have a virtual ceremony or a virtual option available. So we are going to be live streaming the ceremony via Zoom, and the ceremony will be from 12 to 12:30. Again, you're welcome to join us. You can either take a screenshot, take a picture of this, or write it down, or you can also visit us on Instagram on SD Mesa EOPS, and you can see the information for not only the grand opening, but different workshops that we will be providing in the coming weeks, or that we have provided throughout the semester. And I'm going to pass it over to Yoli. So I believe Yoli's screen may be.
Hi.
Okay.
So again, introduce myself. My name is Elena Gonados, and hello.
You're cutting off a little bit, Yoli.
Am I cutting off? Let me try and can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. I just moved the computer a little bit. So my name is Elena Gonados, and I am one of the project assistants for Borderless Scholars. And I'm just going to go ahead and just give you a little bit background of the student voices and how we've come this far. So if you see this first slide right here, these are the students who were a part of RISE back in 2016, but they were also the students who strongly advocated for programs like Borderless Scholars and to have a Dream Resource Center on campus. And if you see the pictures here, this is them throughout the events they attended. They did a lot of activism on and off campus to just have their voices heard. And I know a lot of them are aware that we're finally opening the Dream Resource Center, and it means a lot to them to finally see this this coming to a reality. In the next slide, please. So because we are close to finals, some of our students were not able to attend today. They're busy studying or taking tests right now, but we do have recordings of their experiences and their voices. So this is Juan, and we're just about to play the video, and he will talk about his experience. I think the volume might be down.
You couldn't hear anything? No, okay. Let me try a different one. Okay.
My history of
Can you hear it now?
begins
Okay.
in 2007, 2006.
Sorry, I'll reset.
Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes a todos. My name is Juan Marcos Mejía Reyes, and I'm currently a Borderless Scholar student at San Diego Mesa College. I am transferring out in fall 2021 to San Diego State University, and I honestly could not have done this without the support of Borderless Scholars. My history of Borderless Scholars begins in 2016, 2017, when it was my first semester at Mesa College, and I was lucky enough to be involved in the naming process for this program. If I'm not mistaken, it was still an 8540 program, and they were looking for a new name that could be more welcoming. Ever since that naming process, I have become really close to this program. When it came to counseling, when it came to supplies, when it came to any little emotional help or support system, they have always been there for me. And I know they have been there for a lot of my peers that have gone through education.
And I don't know if that was it or we're moving on to the next slide. And then for the next student, we have, oh my gosh, correct me, Leti, what's her name? I can't pronounce.
Dani.
Dani. Okay, Dani. And I'll just read what she said. Personally, I have honestly loved being part of Borderless Scholars. I'm a first-year student, but they have been a huge help for me. They have helped me create my schedule multiple times and have given advice regarding which prerequisite classes I should take. Overall, I think it's a great program as it provides students with the helpful resources and helps undocumented students like me achieve their academic goals. And she put the quote, "The greatest success we'll know is helping others succeed and grow." And it's by Gregory Scott Reed. And then next would be me. I'll just go ahead and talk about my experience. So I am a San Diego Mesa alumni. I graduated in 2019 from Mesa College, and then soon right after in the spring of 2019, and then I transferred to Cal State Long Beach that fall. And I was there from the fall of 2019 up until the spring of 2021, which I just graduated this past spring from Cal State Long Beach. And as an undocumented student or as a documented student, having programs like Borderless Scholars and now having a Dream Resource Center opening up, it's a big deal. It took me 12 years to accomplish this goal. Because when you're undocumented, sometimes you don't have all the necessary resources accessible to you to be able to succeed. I had gone to a previous college and a different previous community college, and there wasn't, at that time, Daca didn't exist. There were no Dream resources. You weren't supposed to talk about your status. It was hard for me to meet counselors, go to a counselor and say, hey, this is my situation. This is what I'm going through. I don't know what classes to take. I don't know how to navigate the college, the college system. And having to explain my situation and sometimes feeling like my counselors weren't helpful. So then I ended up dropping out of school. But then when I decided to enroll back in school, I decided to come to Mesa, and I had learned about Borderless Scholars. And I just remember thinking this is something I've always wanted. And not just Borderless Scholars, but there's other programs on campus that helped me out a lot, like Promise as well. They helped me out a lot. But just to know that there was a counselor dedicated for that knew and understood where I was coming from, my experience, that just was it was like a stress reliever. This feels so nice to be able to explain to my counselor, hey, I can't, I feel like I don't know how to apply for this because I don't know what resources I can provide. And I'm too scared to give this information, and knowing that everything is going to be fine makes a big, big difference. So without the help of Borderless Scholars, I was able to finally graduate from Cal State Long Beach, and I am here now. And how Consuelo had mentioned earlier, I was able to apply for advanced parole, which is a program that is accessible to DACA recipients that gives you the opportunity to travel abroad. So I was able to go to Mexico and reunite with my mom after not seeing her for 12 years. And that's an opportunity that a lot of our students don't know that is available to you. You are able to travel outside the US if you have DACA, and you actually are able to travel to study abroad. And that's what I did. I was able to study abroad in Mexico for the summer. And we can go on to the next part.
Thank you, Yoli, for sharing. And the next part, I'm going to start sharing my screen because we do have a student with us today, and his name is Giovanni. And Yoli will be moderating the questions for.
Yeah, we actually do have a question here from someone. Is the RISE Club open to all students?
Yes, it's open to all students. So you don't have to, it's also open to, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now. It's also open to people who want to help us advocate. So it's open to everyone. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then we also have another question here. How are you supported undocumented DACA students prepare to go into the workforce or prepare for life after college?
Consuelo or Yoli, if you want to share about our collaboration with work-based learning.
I can share a little bit. So we've collaborated a lot with work-based learning, and anytime any of our students need assistance or have questions, we always send them to them. We highly recommend to send, or if a student that would qualify for our program has questions about work or career-based information, we send them to Pavel. He is amazing. He supports our program. He's such a huge advocate for our students and our population, and is really, really passionate about it. So we usually send them to him, and we've had workshops that he has put together along with his team to present what is accessible to our students and how they can work even and how they can also, like, if they want to go more the entrepreneurship route, which some of our students can't work, but they can create their own businesses. He does have a lot of resources and information for that.
Yeah, and also the work-based learning is an extension of works in partnership with the Career and Transfer Center. So students that are exploring different careers or different paths, he can help the students and access internships, paid and unpaid internships, explore, do a self-study to explore what career the students and what are their strengths and their best skills. So it's really great, the help. And also, we have had a lot of workshops working with the Career and Transfer Center as well. And students seem to be really happy. The programs and the accessibility that Papel Consuegra has to them, it's really fun because he has a form that they can sign in to different time schedules with to meet with him and do all these explorations individually. Doesn't have to be a big group.
Yeah, and then there's also, I want to mention, there's also Immigrants Rising. They do have a lot of great resources, and they do post links and resources on their website that's accessible, but also catered to our population. So if there's if someone wants to apply, someone's into graphic design, but they can't work, they don't have a permit to work or anything, but they can do graphic design, in Canada or something, there's resources like that accessible to them. And so Immigrants Rising is also a really great resource.
Thank you for that. Yeah, those are all the questions so far.
Okay, great, thank you, Priscilla. So we'll jump into asking Giovanni some questions, and then if anybody has any questions for either Giovanni or Yoli, Consuelo or I, again, you can send them in, and then Priscilla will relay them to us. So I'll hand it over to Yoli.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to have Giovanni introduce himself. Giovanni, if you can introduce yourself, just give us your name, your major, and your career aspirations.
All right, my name is Giovanni Sanchez. I am my major is sociology, and I am hoping to work with my community eventually, or with students, and just going ahead and helping them, just like you guys have been helping all of us. So just make a difference.
Awesome. And thank you for being here. So before we get started, I just want to know, what has your experience been like attending Mesa College, or just the community college in general?
Well, in general, I started a while back, and due to financial difficulties and family issues, I did have to drop out, and it wasn't as easy as it is nowadays. Like you mentioned before, we didn't have the same support systems, or there weren't as many programs before. So coming back and attending Mesa, it definitely was a huge difference because of all the resources, all the help that you get, especially being, a documented or undocumented. There's so many resources nowadays that we didn't have before, so it makes it much easier. So for me, it has been a really great experience, especially working with EOPS and the Borderless scholars, with all of you. It definitely has made a really positive impact in my life and in my academic life as well.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And as we had mentioned, you had mentioned before, you had dropped out of school because there wasn't resources available as there are now. And now that we have the Dream Resource Center opening up in a week, opening up next week, what does that mean to you as a current student right now? And as someone who had tried to go to school before and had to go through that. But what does it mean to have a Dream Resource Center finally opening up at Mesa?
Oh, well, it actually means a lot. It feels like, we're finally going to have a safe space, a safe haven, somewhere where we can go and have people in our same positions where we can relate. we can relate to. And then just having that space where we know where to go exactly to get those resources or assistance that we need. I think it's going to make a huge difference for future generations that attend Mesa College who are in the same position. So it definitely means a lot because of that having that safe space that you guys are creating.
Thank you. And then, like you said, like it's going to be a space where you can get resources and stuff, more information like that. What does it also mean to know that you have like a counselor dedicated for our program and for our center? Like, and just like when you come to EOPS, you know that we have Rosa and Clemente accessible to you. How has that experience been for you?
It has been great because they take the time to kind of walk you through, what is needed for you to achieve your goals. So you don't have to deal with a counselor that has thousands of students. I mean, I don't know exactly what their schedule is or whatever, but as far as I know, they're focused on us, and it definitely makes a difference because then we can not only I guess ask academic questions, but they're more than how can I explain it? We can kind of ask personal questions and those be answered. So I think it makes it like a safe place as well with them, talking to someone like that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then also, like we do have allies attending this event today. And what is something that you would like for them to know as a student who is part of the Borderless Scholars Program?
That it makes a difference, having people support us. It makes us want to work harder. It makes it seem that our efforts are not worthless. That we have people that actually support us and want to see us succeed. So that definitely encourages to kind of want to be more and do more. And it definitely lets us know that there are people standing with us and not only against us. So we get to see the positive things rather than all negativity.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then what is also some advice that you would like to give our allies to to let our future students know? So if there's a student that comes to them and says, hey, I'm looking for, this is my situation, or this is what, this is what's going on. How can I reach out to the Borderless Scholars Program? Or what is some advice that you would like future students to know about our program?
Not to be afraid to reach out. It's I know a lot of people are scared to even mention their status or be discriminated because of that. But all I have to say is don't be scared. You can have a lot of support at Mesa. Just be confident about it. As far as allies, I've never met anybody at Mesa so far that has acted negatively towards me. So I feel Mesa's a very safe place.
Thank you for sharing that. And yes, I agree with you. To let the students know, don't be afraid. I know it's easier said than done, but you're not alone. There's a big community in there, and you have. And I was always, and I think you can relate to Giovanni, I was always scared to come out and say, hey, I'm undocumented and I don't know what to do and I don't know who to turn to. But I realized that the minute that I started being open about my status, and the minute I knew that there was a program and a resource on campus, I felt safe, I felt confident in myself, and I saw my grades improving, I saw my self-confidence improving, and I feel like myself, including you, we've just been very blessed with being surrounded by an amazing community and program that really wants us to succeed and really, really advocates for us.
Yeah,
so I don't know if there's any,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I was gonna say, I don't know if there's any last notes you want to say.
Yeah, I just want to say that, I actually was scared coming to Mesa, coming back to school. My first semester back was fall 2019. I didn't know what to expect. I had heard about the DREAM Act, how you get a waiver for your classes. I didn't know how to go about asking for all that. Once I attended Mesa, I asked the financial aid and they sent me down to Brianna, and then Brianna sent me up to you guys. So definitely they're inside Mesa College. There's kind of like a root system where you're sent from one person to another in a good way, not in a bad way, but you get to make new contacts, you get to meet new people, you get to learn and see more of the resources that you have on hand, such as the fee waiver, the AB 540 thing where you're able to pay in-state tuition, as well as the Borderless scholars or EOPS that they give you a grant in order for you to pay for some of your books. So definitely I just want to say that I'm so grateful to have found you guys and to have actually come back to school as well, because I would have missed out on all of this.
It's true. It's true. Well, thank you so much, Giovanni, for sharing your experience. And I think we're going to open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions for Giovanni or for myself or Consuelo or Leticia.
Yes, please submit your questions. So we have here, how has the pandemic impacted DACA-mentored students? I know for a lot of students, the pandemic intensified the struggles students were already experiencing and created more barriers to attend school.
All right, Giovanni, if you want to answer that question.
Okay. So for me, so I'm part of DSPS as well. So I do have my, I do suffer from depression and anxiety. Definitely, the pandemic kind of increased some of that. But knowing that I had a support system that I can reach out for any type of assistance, to the program, kind of made it easier, because if I had any type of help, they would send me the resources, whether it was for the Career Center, for tutoring. They always had some type of Zoom that would, assist you with whatever you needed, whether it was for calming down your nerves. There was always something there that they provided. So it wasn't as hard or as difficult. I know going online rather than campus, it could be difficult for some of us. I was used to being in class rather than online. So just adjusting to that and kind of putting myself accountable for doing my work was a bit harder. But other than that, I mean, you have all the resources there. It's just, it takes some effort for you to take advantage of that.
I would agree. I think for me, my experience, because I got to experience my university, being at a university level, I got to experience it virtually. So I was on campus at Cal State Long Beach for one semester, and then in the spring, COVID hit. So I ended up experiencing the rest of my time at Long Beach virtually. And that was really hard at first, but I started to think to myself, well, let me think of the positive way of this. And so I was like, well, I get to save money. I don't have to drive. I don't have to pay for parking. I don't have to, so everything's going to be from home. It was hard. I will say it did affect my mental health a lot. And for me, it was triggering in some ways of like not being able to see my family, not knowing when I would see them again. And that was triggering for me because I hadn't seen my mom in 12 years. And so there was a lot of like stuff that was coming back. But again, thanks to like resources like Immigrants Rising, they actually have a program where you can sign up, and then you can pay little to no like cost to see a therapist. And so I did that. I said, I'm home all the time. I need to talk to someone. I see this resource. Let me just fill it out. And then within like 2 months, they contacted me. And then they were able to connect me with a mental health provider. And like I said, it's little to no cost. And I think that if it wasn't for like a resource like that, I don't think I would have been able to get through COVID throughout that whole experience. So at least that was my experience as a student, but I do see that some of our students are having a really hard time because you do have to decide, okay, I either have to go to school or drop out and help my family out with working. So I do understand that that has been a really, really, really hard thing on our students. But we like to remind them all the time that they're not alone, that we're here to help them whatever support it is they need, even if they just want to take one class for a semester, just to kind of get them through the education process, that we support them 100%. I don't know if Leti or Consuelo wants to answer any of that.
That was very well said, Jolie. I wanted to mention that, yes, it definitely hit a lot of our students, but our program continued to grow. We found ways to be more accessible for our students. And now that we're transitioning to going back and seeing their faces in person, they definitely feel their heart warmed by the services we provide and the way that we make ourselves available for them. And it's definitely has been a hard time. And a lot of our students had a lot of struggles, but in the same note, I believe that we were doing the best of our abilities to help them, and we'll continue to grow, right, Leticia?
Yeah, the college was also very supportive. So as soon as we started working remotely and started offering services remotely, there were so many people across campus that contacted us and asked, like, how can we help? Like, desperately, because they knew that there was urgency in general for all of our students, but specifically for our undocumented Dreamer students, everybody was quick to jump in. So some examples were the Latinx Alliance or the Chicana Studies Department came together and supported us, and the HSI department as well. They supported us in fundraising. So we have an account with the foundation, and we request for donations. So the communications office created a flyer for us, and different people on campus in these different departments and committees on campus would share it with their networks, and we were able to award grants to students because at that time we didn't have AB 1645 where we were able to award direct aid to students. And with the Catalyst Fund through Immigrants Rising, the direct aid was not an allowable expense. Other examples were that IT reached out to our department first to provide laptops to our students. Literally, like from one day to the next, they said, we have these number of laptops. Please refer students to this Google form link. Once CARE funding and HERF funding became available, again, the opportunities were extended to our department to access these different funding sources. Some examples are either grants for our students or funding for supplies or funding for positions. So one of our adjunct counselors and one of our project assistant is being funded by her funding. Shipping costs. So if for whatever reason students were not able to stop by on campus because of distance or health guidelines, or because we did have a lot of distribution events, we would deliver or mail the items to the students, and that shipping expense was also covered by the college through CARE or HER funding that was available. So and that flood of support continues, and it didn't happen just because of COVID. I think it was just amplified at that time because of COVID, and but that support has been consistent throughout our time, and we've all, at least Consuelo, Yoli, and I have been at the college for approximately 3 years, either as a, Yoli in this case as a student, and then now as a professional, but even as a professional, I've just seen this consistent support coming from across the campus. So yes. Priscilla, were there any other questions?
Thank you. There are no other questions right now, but I'd love to know, thank you so much for sharing your story, and this work is really so critical. I'd love to hear just, is there any favorite activity or event that kind of really stands out in your experience as a way that you've been able to connect with students?
I'll let either Giovanni, Consuelo, or Yolanda jump in.
Well, we had really great engagement in our summer program, and it was the very first time ever we offer a Dreamer Summer Program. And students were engaged and were happy to learn. And they, mentioned before, we give them a survey so they can let us know what they were happy to hear about. And they all they were super grateful for the space provided throughout the days. They had activities, moments to engage, and icebreakers. So they got to know all their students, and the community created in that space was great. And that was an experience I got to see with the students, and reading their messages and the feedback they gave us, they were suggesting, can we have this every year? Can we have more activities like this? Yeah. Any other event, Yolanda or Giovanni? I believe you were there, Giovanni. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to miss that one. Sorry, what was it you said, Giovanni?
No, I was just going to say that all the events actually, they made a difference, because it's a whole different experience. Things that you don't know, you get new information. So not only, do you get to be not in person, but around other students, you should get more knowledgeable to, things that you didn't know, and you get more information. But definitely, yeah, the only event, I'm not sure if you want to call it an event, but at first being part of, when I was able to being part of RISE, the club that they, started again, definitely made an impact as well. Just being around other students in the same boat definitely made a difference.
Also, before COVID, we offered a campus visit to UCLA, and that was an awesome trip. And we collaborated with our other colleges within the district. So Miramar and City were also able to take group of students and continue in education as well. And the students expressed a lot of interest to continue offering that. So we look forward to implementing that again. And then the other one is student leadership opportunities. So as a department, if there's any opportunity for us to go to a conference or a training, and we're able to take students, that has also been very rewarding experience for our students, because they get to, we visited or we attended the conference for Immigrants Rising in Long Beach, and we were able to take 3 students every year. So that was really great. Or other conferences that may come up and that students are welcome to attend. We always want to provide that opportunity to students.
Thank you. All of that sounds so exciting. Please submit any questions that you may have.
I also wanted to add something important for us, like I mentioned, was data and tracking and record keeping. So just logistically, for whoever's in the room that may be either thinking of starting a Dreamer support program or space or center or collecting data, is that we collaborate with the financial aid office, the admissions office, our district, and the foundation to make sure that we're collecting data for our students. So how did we identify so many students? So one way is by students spreading the word and students coming to our program, our space, and they self-identify for Borderless Scholars. The other way is through the EOPS application or through the Promise application. If the student self-identifies as undocumented, that list is provided to our Borderless Scholars program. The list of students that applied to the California DREAM Act through the financial aid office is also provided to us periodically throughout the year, and that list becomes, again, provided to the Borderless Scholars program. There's also a list that the district has through admissions, in partnership with admissions, of students that applied through CCC Apply and self-identify as undocumented. The district can pull the students that are have a campus of record at Mesa College, enrolled in one or more unit for that semester, and self-identify as undocumented. That list is provided to us as well. At the time that a student applies to our college, Mesa College, through CCC Apply, they receive an automated message, and we created that message. It's a welcome letter to the student, letting them know that Borderless Scholars is available. At that point, the student has the option to contact us to learn more about our program. So that's another way of that we're able to connect with students. So a lot of times we get asked, like, how did you grow your program so rapidly over the years? And I really do attribute it, one, to the funding support, because we were able to bring people power to bring these ideas like to live, and we continue to refine them. How do we house this information? We are currently using Google Form, but our college transitioned to Campus Solution or PeopleSoft in 2018, and they are still continuing to develop different pages for different programs. And we are on a waiting list of having our own page on Campus Solution created to house student information. But until then, we use Google, the Google Drive, so Excel sheets, forms, the folders to house the different student information. We are currently not reporting data to the state, but through this new funding source, we do anticipate to report this data. However, different departments on campus are reporting data through MIS to the state of California, which would be like students that apply through CCC Apply or through AB 540 or through the California DREAM Act. We do provide all of our data to our on-campus research department, and they compile data for us. And we have software called Data that creates data dashboards for us, and it breaks down like student demographics, student educational goals, the different equity related equity gaps that we may have depending on the student populations that our college is focusing on a particular year. So that data is also helpful for us as far as like capturing demographics for our students at a snapshot. And we receive that on an annual basis from our research department. And anything, we also work very closely with our foundation office. Again, we're always trying to find different ways of identifying funding sources for our students. And so we do have an account, and it's located on our website. You can look up Mesa Borderless Scholars, and our website will pop up. And we have a donation button there, but whenever we have an event or an activity or the opportunity to request for funding, we do so. The foundation also supports us in connecting us with different donors. So most recently, this past summer, a church here in our community donated $5,000 to our Borderless Scholars program, and we provided those funds to the students that participated in the Dreamer Summer program. So we were able to provide that incentive for the students. And again, all the students that participate in our programs, the great thing about the foundation money is that they don't have to have unmet needs. So they don't have to have a financial aid, a California DREAM Act application on file, versus categorical funding like AB 1645. They do need to have that unmet need recorded on file in order for us to be able to award them. So that's why it's also important for us to seek additional funding through the foundation, because that unmet need that is not required through that funding source. And as we know it, not all of our students qualify for California DREAM Act, or not all of our students may be at that step to start applying because there are other pieces that they're maybe working on. So different funding sources for us is important. So I encourage you to work with your foundation office if you're not doing so already. And any information that we shared today, you can contact us, and I'm going to share my screen. Again, you can take a screenshot, take a picture, or again, you can Google Mesa, San Diego Mesa, Borderless Scholars, San Diego Mesa Dreamers, or EOPS, and our information will pop up. We are more than welcome to meet with you or share any information in more detail that was presented today. So for us, it's important to just share these different resources, because just the way that we have brought or that we have learned from others, so we want to continue sharing that knowledge with others as well. Thank you.
And yes, actually, if you scroll down and go under handouts in the session, you will actually find the deck that will have all of these resources available. So go ahead and check that out. And I want to say thank you so much. A huge virtual applause to our amazing speakers. This was such a great session. And yes, thank you so much for attending today. Please make sure you rate the session, and I'll just keep this on for a moment, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you all for joining us today.